love to do applique quilts from paper applique patterns. There's a book called Count On. You guys have seen this in quilt stores. It's all over the country. And one of the things I love to do is to automate this process and applique and not have to go what you know how you do regular applique. You take some heat and bond and you put it over a light box or a pattern at the window and you trace around it, right? And then you take the heat and bond and you iron it to your back of your fabric, okay? Then you have to cut it out around the outside of the fabric or the inside, as the case may be. And then you have to put that piece, iron it on, and then you put it on your background fabric, and then you stitch, oops, fix it, stitch, stitch, stop, dang it, stitch, stitch, I need a glass of wine, right? That's what we do, that's right, depending on how tedious that is, that's right. So I really look for a way to automate that process. How can I automate the applique process? The first key to this is the scan and cut. The Brother Scan and Cut creates a file called an FCM file. And that FCM file serves two purposes. It will create a cut file to cut out your pieces for you. So no more micro trimming the little holly leaves and Santa's hat down here. All of my samples were made using Simply Applique. And so that all gets done for you, all of your cutting. And then it will create the embroidery file in the you import it into Simply Applique and it will create the embroidery file for you. It will make your placement stitch, your tack down stitch, and your final satin blanket stitch. Where's Robert? Robert? Oh, I'm plugged in. Excellent. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, this is a low tack mat, all right? If you are using anything stickier than a low tack mat, you definitely want to make sure you are not paper side down on your mat, okay? So I am going to, we're going to pretend that I had a scanning mat and I scanned in my number, okay? So I traced the number because the 7 and 8 in the book laid on top of one another. And if that happens, then you need to get them separate because the computer doesn't know what you want to do. So here's a 7, here's an 8. Today we're going to make the 7, okay? I think. We'll have to see. So I'm going to pull up, can you see the scan and cut? I'm going to retrieve data and I'm going to go to my USB. It wants to know, where do you want to get the data from? You can get it from inside the machine, wireless with the little radar waves. You can use a USB or you might be cabled to your computer. I'm going to get it from the USB and let me go all the way down and then back up a bit. Where's my 7 PES? Let's see. Let's do the 4. Why not? So this one right here, number 4. It looks right. I don't need to mirror it at all. So I'm going to take my heat and bond is already, this is heat and bond light. It's already on the back of my fabric. Isn't this precious? This stuff is Cozy Up from Corey Yoder. So I'm going to put it on my mat. And it doesn't matter where I put it on my mat. I'm going to load my mat. And the beauty of the scan and cut is the ability to scan the fabric and see where it's at. So I'm going to tell it okay. I just pulled that up. All right. This blue box with a bar across it, that's the scanning bar, okay? So I'm going to touch that. That's the button. I'm going to hit start. And what's happening right now is the scan and cut is taking a picture of what's on that. It's going to see where my fabric. This is fabulous. So for the Santa Claus or the snowman down here, I put individual color pieces of fabric in different quadrants of the. Yes, ma'am.
Which side did you put down?
I put the heat and bond side down on a low tack mat. Okay, so the 4 looks like it's in good spot, isn't it? But even if it wasn't, I could grab it and I see how the red line came up. I can move it around and I can put it exactly where I want it to be. But isn't that nice? That's really a nice thing right there. I got to clean up on all 6 back here. So what I want to do now is cut out that 4. Okay, so I'm just going to hit OK. I don't need to edit it. I don't need to do anything. I'm going to select. I'm going to hit cut. You want to make sure that half cut is off. You use half cut for heat transfer vinyl and it never fails. I'll do heat transfer vinyl and then I'll switch to fabric and then I mess it up. Yeah. So I'm just going to hit start. So now in less than a minute, my applique shape that I scanned into the scan and cut that created that picture, that FCM file, what this machine does that the old CM model does not do is what this machine, it'll come over and it tests and it has an auto depth finder. So I don't have to do any tests. The old CM model you had to test and make sure it was going to cut and try it till you got it right. You don't have to do that with this new one. We're done. Yay, look at that. Okay. So I'm going to eject the mat. Is my iron on? No, I need to be plugged in, and if you would turn it on high, please. Okay, so let's see how we did. How about that? Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? When you're making a monster quilt, 5 monsters across, 5 monsters down, and you've got 25 sets of eyeballs and 25 sets of pupils, who wants to cut those out by hand? Anybody? Nope. Scan and cut, you guys. Scan and cut. Seriously. One of the things you need to make sure of, don't stretch the fabric as you pull it off the mat. That's really easy to do. Normally I'd use a little spatula. I didn't bring my spatula with me, so I'm just going to pull this up. Now what I need to do is I need to create the embroidery file from the same FCM file. We need the HDMI cable hooked up to my laptop, please. Okay. So I would say save it to the USB. Anybody who watches me, you guys know I'm wireless because I'm lazy, right? I'm just going to send it automatically up to Brother Canvas. And in the Brother Canvas, you can download the cut file and you can download the FCM file to your laptop or your desktop. A lot of people ask, can you use this on a Mac? You can use it on a Mac. I talked to Joanne Banco from Let's Go Sew, and she has successfully used it on a Mac with Parallels and a Windows operating system. I'm over here on this side. Yeah, okay. But this file format was designed by an engineer from Microsoft, which is why it works natively on a Windows PC. Okay. So, Simply Applique software is a module inside of BES4 software. So if you have BES4 software, you don't need Simply Applique. But if you don't, Simply Applique is incredibly inexpensive and it is so good at what it does. It doesn't do a lot, but what it does do, it does amazing. So let me get my laptop up and running here. So here is Simply Applique. I am running BES4, Simply Applique on my other computer down the coast, but I don't have audio anymore.
Yep, let me just keep, yeah, let me get you.
So I'm running BES4 software. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, so the only difference, Simply Applique looks different from BES4 is up here in the top. I don't have my mouse with me. I do have my mouse. I want you to see my cursor. Let me get my mouse. Hello, mouse. Okay, so see where my cursor is up here in the corner on that B? All right, I'm gonna put this in my, my laptop right now. All right. You cannot drag and drop. You cannot file open. That does not work with this software. So it can be frustrating if you don't know how to do that. So I'm gonna click the B and import FCM. See what I'm doing there on that menu? You click the B, it's like file, okay, and there's new and open, and then scroll down, there's import FCM. Okay, do that. So where do you want to get it? I'm going to get it, let's see if this is the FCM file. Yes. See over here, file type, FCM. See that? File type. You can scroll over and see that. All right, so I'm going to get the 4. And I'm going to click open. Are we good? Yep. All right. So right now, this is that scanned image that I scanned into the Scan and Cut. And this is the same file that created the cut file before. But now what I'm going to do, when you first put it up, it looks like this and it does a whole bunch of other stuff. Okay, it's got all these other things. Don't worry about any of that. That's not a big deal. You want to come over here to Tools. See the Tools tab? Click that. You make sure it's highlighted and over here in the sequence view down below. And here, all the way over here on the end, you see it says Convert to Applique. I'm going to touch that. Don't blink. Ready? Ta-da! So what has happened now, I'm going to come here in this sequence view. I'm going to click the plus sign, and there is the applique file. And when I open this up, there is your placement stitch, there's your tack down stitch, and there's your final satin stitch. Well, I don't want a satin stitch, I want a blanket stitch. So let's look all the way over here on the other side of the screen in the properties panel, and where it says applique. See, it says applique type and it says satin. I'm going to click that drop down arrow right there, and I'm going to click on blanket. And I'm going to come, and these are default settings. I'm just going to leave them right now. I'm going to click apply. Ta-da! Isn't that awesome? I'm finished with this. Now, Simply Applique will save to any home embroidery machine format. It'll work on a Brother, of course. It'll work on a Husqvarna, a Pfaff, a Singer, you name it, a Viking. It will work on any home embroidery machine format. So now all I need to do is save it. I'm going to say File up here, File. I'm going to scroll down to Save As. And it defaults to Paste Set or Outline BRF file. I don't want that. I'm going to hit the drop down arrow and look at all of the different files, the Genome. Look at all of the different machines it'll save to. So I'm going to save it to Brother Baby Lock Bernina, PES. And there it is right there. I just will save over that one, the 4. It's going to say, do you want to save over it? I'm going to tell it yes. Do you want to replace it? I'm going to tell it yes. So it's done. I'm finished. Now I'm going to take my USB that I saved it to. I'm all done with the computer. I'm going to put the USB drive in the Luminaire. I already have my background right here in my hoop. This is a piece of poly mesh, and this is fused to a piece of Pellon 987F. Okay, so I have floated this in here with a couple of pins. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. Looks like there's purple thread in there. For brevity's sake, I don't think I want to change it. Okay, we'll just stitch it down with purple. Why not, right? That'll be pretty. I'm gonna pull up embroidery. Is the sewing machine on the screen? Robert, sewing machine, please.
There you go. No, yes.
Yes, good, okay. I'm gonna touch embroidery, and I'm gonna go to the pocket for memory, and it wants to know where do you want to get it from. You can get it from inside the machine, which is highlighted, and then there is the USB, universal symbol for USB. And there's my 4 right there. Take my 4, embroidery data, thread information, blah, blah, don't care, doesn't matter, okay? And I'm just gonna hit set. The only thing I need to do now is make sure that it's gonna be placed on my fabric where I want it. And so all I'm gonna do, because I have a Luminaire, a fancy camera, a fancy computer machine with a camera system, that's what I'm trying to get out. I'm gonna hit the scanning button, and I'm gonna see the camera up here at the top, and then I'm gonna hit scan. And it says it's gonna move, I'm gonna tell it okay. Now the embroidery machine is taking a picture of where the fabric is in the hoop. You cannot mess this up. Well, you can, those of you that were here yesterday. That was my fault. Look at that. That looks pretty good. Now you can tell from the red outline around the 4 that it's a little bit off center. It could go a little bit higher, right? What do you got? You can't see my screen. They can't see this. Oh, okay. Can you guys see the screen now? Okay, so you can tell by the red line around the applique pattern that it's not centered. So I'm just going to close this, and now I'm going to go to edit, and you can do move or you can do rotate. Now I like to hit, if I hit move, this is just a learning thing, there's some toggle buttons down here, you can move it, but let me go back, and if I hit rotate, not only do I get my toggle buttons, I get my rotate buttons as well. So that's just all in one spot, and that's kind of handy. So I'm going to bump it up. It looks like it is fairly centered, but I'm just going to even it out. Okay. Does that look centered? Former government employee, that's okay? Not postal service, don't get mad at me. All right. And I'm done. I'm going to hit the embroidery button. My light has turned green on the machine, and I'm ready to go. It's going to stitch the placement stitch right now. Do you know what speed we're on the machine? Because it's slow. Oh, it's fast. I turned it up yesterday. Yeah. It was on 350 and I bumped it up to default. Yeah. Good. Where's Steady Betty? Where's she at? There it is. I got my Steady Betty. It's actually my Woolly Betty. Love these. Love these. I like these because when you're doing it, it can sit on your lap and you can just iron your pieces down easy. Can you see the stitch line? It's in the light purple. Can you see it? Okay. I'm going to take it out of here, and now I'm going to iron my 4 down that was cut out on the scan and cut. So I don't have to cut out the pieces, and I don't have to sew them down. Why? Because I'm lazy, remember? Because I'm a lazy government employee, that's right. Oh, I love this stuff. I love this software. These are cool, you guys. That wireless Panasonic's pretty hot stuff. Haha. All right. Okay. For the sake of brevity, I am not going to do the tack down stitch because I just ironed it down. We don't need to do that. So I'm going to go on my screen to the needle plus minus button. I'm going to jump ahead 1 stitch to the final blanket stitch, right? Okay, I'm just going to hit the green button and let it do its thing. And that's it. That's how simple it is to take a paper applique pattern, scan it into the Brother Scan and Cut, let it make the FCM file, let it cut out your applique pieces, and then use Simply Applique software to create the digitized embroidery file for that. It's fun, it's fast, and I can make all of those just in no time at all. It's amazing. So the software sells for $169, which is dirt cheap for embroidery software. It does some other things that are a lot of fun to do too, but this is what I use it for all the time. And if you guys ever want to know how to do this, I'm Becky Thompson, Power Tools with Thread on YouTube. Check out my channel, subscribe, follow me, and I do step-by-step instructions exactly how to do it. We'll go through all the process with the scan and cut. We got people who have watched me do it and follow me and know you can always stop the video and stop it and do what you got to do, and stop it and do what you got to do. So That's it, you guys. I'm all done. Thank you.
These out also. These are the brochures with the prices for the.
Okay, my husband's got those too. So there's brochures for the scan and cut and for, yeah. And if anybody wants one of my green tote bags, we've got them over here where I was standing over by the weightless quilter. So, how'd I do today, ladies? Yay! Practice makes perfect. You certainly can. Yes, ma'am. The scan and cut, yeah. So, y'all, one of the questions that was asked, if you have an older scan and cut, will it make the FCM file? Yes, it does. It certainly does. That's the technology that's used in that machine. Yeah. This is BES4. It came with one of the machines that I bought. Yeah. It was a +1 on a deal from All Brands when I bought my last machine from them. And yeah, so. Do need applique, yes. If you don't have BES4, you do need Simply Applique in order. You have to use parallels with a Windows OS if you have Mac, yes. So here's what we just made. Hand that around, take a look at the front and back, see how great that is.